Alrighty. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you find yourself today. It's another beautiful day. I hope everybody is doing awesome. You're welcome to analyze this. My name is Nana Osei Bonsu Jr. of African National Organization and CERTO Leadership International. And my co-host is
Kojowa Frimpong.
Mr. Kojowa Frimpong. All right, you're all welcome today. We are going to continue and finish up with the honoring leadership. Um, Today, as you can see, I'm wearing the smock from the north because both um, people we're going to honor today are from the north. And we'll read a little bit of Dr. Hilla Lmann's biography, and then we'll move straight to Dr. David Abdulai. But before we start, I want to say creativity and inventions are not by the color of one's skin, but by an educated mind. I want to repeat, creativity and inventions are not by the color of one's skin, but by an educated mind. It's interesting. I was talking to somebody yesterday, and I don't know where this statement came from, but I thought it was a very deep statement that I didn't think about it, to be honest with you, but it just popped out of my mouth. I said, schooling a fool magnifies their
It's stupidity.
foolishness,
Yeah,
but educating a fool magnifies their intelligence. So that clearly tells you that education is different from schooling. All right, with that being said, on this platform, we don't entertain insults. On this platform, we discuss. However, we accept and we welcome dissenting opinions. So if you have any opinion different from ours, you're more than welcome to table those opinions and we will discuss the opinions because we don't believe that we have all the right answers to the issues facing us as a people. On that note, Prof, just introduce yourself, and then after that, I will read a bio of Dr. Hilla Lmann, and then we will
yeah.
move forward.
I am Kojowa Frimpong of Afriwick and Seto, and I like to say from the beginning is that the society we want to live in tomorrow is the society that we build today. We should stop this idea that anybody is coming from anywhere to help us build. As Africans, as Black people, whether on the mother continent or in the diaspora, nobody is coming to bail us out. We need to build the society we want to live in tomorrow, today. All hands on deck. Yeah.
We want to build tomorrow's society today, and all hands got to be on deck because it is a multi responsibility. It does not rest on the shoulders of just one person. And so, on that note, I would want to read something little about Dr. Hilla Lmann, one of the illustrious sons of Africa, a man who exemplified leadership. And like I said last week, he understands the concept of humanity. And that is the basis for leadership. If you want to, leadership is not for you, it is for the people. So you have to understand the value of the people you're dedicating your life and your gifts to. Because nobody will dedicate his or her life to something he does not value. That's one thing we got to understand. You are going to dedicate your life and your gift to something you treasure, you value. And that is the essence, that is the basis, that is the baseline for leadership. And this man understood that concept. So Dr. Hilla Lmann was a Ghanaian diplomat and politician who served as the 8th president of Ghana from 1979 to 1981. He previously served as a diplomat in Lomé and in Geneva. He was born on December 12, 1934, in a town called Golu in Ghana, in the upper regions of Ghana. He died on January 23rd, 1989, and he died at the age of 63 in Accra. He left behind one wife by name Mrs. Fulera Lmann, who is still alive. He was educated in Tamale Senior High School, University of London, Sorbonne University. Okay, Sorbonne University. And he was a president from September 24th, 1979 to December 31st, 1981. I want to pause here and just explain why he was a president for a very short time. So after the overthrow of the Acheampong Akufu regime, well, Akufu took over from Acheampong through a palace coup. To be specific, it was a bloodless palace coup. And then Rawlings took over from Akufu through the barrel of the gun. These were all military guys. So legally, you cannot blame Rawlings that much for the 79 coup. And so after that, Acheampong and Akufu were in the process of returning the country into democracy. You know what, lately using the word democracy for what we have in Africa, it's a little hard for me. So returning the country back to
Multi-party rule.
multi-party, rule.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for probably your words are more refined than what I was going to use. So thank you so much. And so elections were conducted, and the PNC won the elections. I'm not going to go into details as to all the records and the craziness that happened, but the PNC won the elections, and PNC had to the presidential candidate was disqualified. I believe it was Moro Igala. I'm not too sure. I stand to be corrected, but he was disqualified. And so they quickly had to bring in Dr. Hilla Lmann as a diplomat to stand in for the disqualified presidential candidate for the PNC. And fortunately, he won the elections. And right about the time he won the elections, formed his cabinet, rolled out his policies, and you know that's probably going to take you like a year, if not more. Rawlings turned around and overthrew him the second time in the 81 coup. For whatever reasons best known to Rawlings. From me personally, the reasons Rawlings gave anytime he was interviewed does not make sense. But like I said, for whatever reasons best known to him. So that accounts for the reasons why Dr. Hilla Lmann uh, had to be president for a very short period of time. And we can all attest to the fact that when he inherited power, it was a mess. It was a huge mess. So he had an Herculean task in putting stuff in place diplomatically, because Ghana's name internationally was not the best due to the coups that has been occurring. So he had to fix that internationally. And then locally, policies had to be put in place to fix the economy as well. The economy was in shambles, and it was in the middle of when looting and stealing and corruption was at its highest height in government, in places of power. It was crazy, you know. And this is what even makes me see this man as a hero. In the midst of all this craziness, none could point an accusing finger at him for dabbling in any form of corruption. And that tells you what manner of man Dr. Hilla Lmann was. Just to sum it up quickly, I gave this 10 minutes, but it looks like we're eating into 15 minutes. Um, I want to read just a little bit on what he did for Ghana. Just a quick one. So Dr. Lmann held the position of the head of Europe desk at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of Ghana between 1965 and 1968. During 1967, he was a member of the Constitution Commission, which drafted the 1969 Constitution of Ghana. In 1968, he became the head of Chancery, official secretary at the Ghana Embassy in Lomé, and on and on and on, where his diplomatic career um, blossomed to the point where he became a diplomat in Geneva, and then he became the president of the Third Republic. And to be precise, he was the only president of the Third Republic.
Because the Third Republic was never allowed to even take off.
Right, right. Yeah, so that was the reason why Dr. Hilla Lmann had to be on the seat for a very short time. And he died through illness. I believe in the year 2000s, he came back to lead the PNC, but he was not successful. Throughout his life after his office, it was a sad treatment that was meted out to him by the Rawlins's government, where his entitlements were frozen, nothing was paid to him, and how they expected him to survive and live and care and cater for his family, only God knows. Only God knows. So the attitude of us not wanting to pay people started a long time ago. No wonder teachers can work for, nurses can work for months without pay, which is ridiculous. I really cannot fathom that concept and that idea, but it happens in Ghana. So he had to live by divine providence. You know, he was not a very wealthy man. He was not a very wealthy man, so he had to live by divine providence until he passed on to glory. So, in short, that is the summary of the life of Dr. Hilla Lmann, the first president or the only president of the Third Republic of Ghana. And we salute this man for his service. And so long as Africa lives, and so long as Ghana lives, so long as Africa lives, his name is printed or etched in the stones of time, and he would never be forgotten. On this day, this hour, we just want to celebrate a courageous man like Dr. Hilla Lmann. He is a hero, not just for Ghana, but for the whole continent of Africa. Thank you. Prof, if you have anything
Yeah.
to say before we move on
Yeah,
to
for a continent that is full of dictators and people who only rule for their own parochial interests, this man was one of the very few that came on the scene and never used his office to enrich himself. And the years have proven him right
or to
because
bully anybody.
yes, he was one of those that could accept dissenting opinions. He actually encouraged dialogue and debates concerning the direction in which Ghana and Africa should be going. Personally, what I love about the man was that even after he was overthrown and a lot of things were alleged at him, he came out and said, just prove it. Prove it to me that what you are saying is true. And we had the ruling regime going around talking about probity and accountability. And Dr. Buzia pointedly told them that when he came into power and he asked them to account for their stewardship for the time between 1979 and when they did the coup and when he came onto the power, they couldn't account for it. So our continent is rife with people with slogans, but when it comes to dedicated servicemen, people who came in to serve, not just to rule, we have very, very few. And Dr. Lmann is one of the best that we can think of. It is just unfortunate that we don't highlight such people and we don't hype them. It is time that we should be hyping them. Thank you.
It is time that we should be hyping them. The next of the people we are celebrating today is Dr. David Abdulai. I don't know, anytime I mention this man's name, I get goose pimples. So let me freestyle and we will later probably read something on him as well. He was one person who I don't know, but he was a special human being. So he was born to a very poor parents. And according to him, his dad was a leper. And the mom,
Oh,
yeah, and the mom um was also poor. I mean, from a very poor background. His education was even sponsored by the Catholic Church. After one of the fathers realized how intelligent he was, decided that he was going to see him through school. And according to him, his dad really didn't care, even though his dad was a traditionalist. He didn't care because he really didn't even see the use of him, you know. So the Catholic priest took him to school, bought his school uniform, and basically took care of him through school. And after that, he went to um, the medical school and did medicine um, in Legon. And then from there, he came to the United States to practice. Well, he practiced here a little bit, and worked, schooled here to upgrade himself and made some money with a sole purpose. And that is what makes this man unique, with a sole purpose of building a free clinic in the North for destitutes, for the homeless, for people who had no hope, to come in for free medical attention. He was not charging a penny. He was not, I mean, writing prescriptions for people to go buy, except for medications they don't have in the hospital. But if they do have it in the hospital, you are giving free medication as well. And then he built a hostel. He called the center Shekinah Clinic. I'm not too sure if it is Shekinah or Shekinah, but this, whichever way you pronounce it. And according to him, he had a mosque built over there. He had a church, so whoever walks in can still practice his or her faith at the center. And he was also feeding the destitutes. So it's like a soup kitchen. He
Yeah.
does every, I believe it's every week, and it's still ongoing, you know. And according to him, he had the idea from the scriptures where um, it was said that if you lay a table to celebrate with your loved ones and they don't show up, go out to the streets and invite people from the street to partake of your happy moments. So that was exactly what he did. It started from a Christmas party he organized, and the people did not honor the invitation. So he told his staff, just take a bus, go to the streets, bring all the destitutes you can find, bring anybody you can find, and let them partake of this Christmas party. And since then, he's been feeding people every weekend. The center is also basically like a hostel for the destitutes. So you come in, you have no place to lay your heads. Those who were picked up from the streets could come in and just get medical attention and also have a place to stay free of charge. He was not charging anybody. And I heard one of his interviews conducted by Joy FM, and they asked him, so how were you surviving since you were doing this free of charge? You're not getting paid. He said, I lived by divine providence. Whew. He managed to um, encourage some of the young doctors to come along who were also doing their work pro bono. They weren't getting paid either, but according to him, some could not hang for long because, I mean, you can't blame them. And as he rightfully said himself, he said, I can't blame them because they have families, they're young, they have ambitions, and so they cannot be here forever without getting paid. And so some of them would leave, new ones will come, some leave, new ones will come. And this man lived his whole life up north, taking care of the poor, the destitute, the hopeless, his whole life without being paid. Later, he got donors and supporters in the national community. He caught the attention of the international community, some of the NGOs, and they came in to support him. And one thing he said, which I want to reiterate here, and I hope that most people would have that understanding. The journalist asked him, "Are you a wealthy man?" He said, "Yes. I don't have the material things, but my spirit is full. Because every time I'm able to put laughter on the faces of the destitute, it fills my heart. And nobody can convince me that this man was not born to do what he did. He did not have any material things. Sometimes you see him riding motorbikes, sometimes bicycles. He didn't have that wealth, but wealth is not the definition of success in life. The definition of success in life is being able to do what you were born to do. And this man did exactly that. And on that basis, he is one of the heroes of this organization, Africa International Organization and Sector Leadership International. And every year he was born on 18th December. So every 18th December, we try to do something to celebrate him. Moving forward, next year, we're going to do something bigger, some that will be more interactive with other people. And same as Dr. Hilla Lmann's birthday on the 12th. So on that basis, we of Africa International Organization and Certo Leadership International, we want to salute Dr. David Abdulai for his selfless, dedicated human service. And he died, I believe, of cancer of the pancreas or something like that. I'm not too sure, but later I will read from his biography so we would know much about him. And I want to encourage everybody to go look him up. It's not that much you can find on him, but I believe he has a couple of interviews he granted Joy FM and some other media houses. You can find those interviews and learn about him, and let us celebrate this hero. He is an exceptional human being. I mean, when you listen to him, I mean, you would wonder if he was at all a human being or an angel. He was a man who selflessly dedicated his whole life to the service of humanity. And on that basis, we want to salute Dr. David Abdulai on his special, special birthday. You are our hero, and you continue to be celebrated. Thank you. Prof.
Yeah, as you were speaking and you mentioned the Shekinah Clinic, I Googled it, and wonderfully enough, AI has a complete story on it. So people who want to understand this man should just Google the Shekinah Clinic. And Shekinah in Christian or Judaism theology means the presence of the divine or divine presence. So the man actually understood what he was doing. What I would like to add to this is this. Some of us come from very, very poor backgrounds, from rural communities. And in most societies, we build structures that make sure that if you came from a rural community and you rise up, you go back and you sort of pay back to your community what you can or what you should be giving back to your community. Unfortunately, growing up in Ghana, even when we were posted as national service personnel to the rural areas, most of us refused to go. So I will take this opportunity to ask that there should be incentives for people who actually go back and help their own communities, like Dr. David Abdulai did. We all should be applauding such people because it is not just in Ghana, it is even here in the United States. Some of these DEI issues that we are talking about, a lot of the medical doctors that came from the rural communities, they only got into top medical schools because there was a promise for them to go back and practice medicine in their communities. And they do go back and do that. So as for us as Africans, as for us as Ghanaians, when we get better, we get educated by the system, and the system sends us back to our communities. It is our duty to go back. Nobody should even send us back. Like teachers, you should be asking for a transfer to your own community. My dad's big brother came back to the village, and he was my headmaster when I was in the primary school, and you see those kind of things happening, but we should encourage it. There should be a systematic way to encourage people to go back and rebuild the communities that they left to go and get an education. Thank you.
Yes, there should be an incentive for us to go back to the communities that gave us the foundation to be able to go back and contribute and be of service to our communities. The key word here is service to our communities. And I know there are a whole bunch of Dr. David Abdulai out there who are selflessly dedicating their lives to the service of their communities. And we want to encourage, as Prof said, that there should be an incentive, a program to be able to encourage these people and to support and help these people to be able to continue with the good works. With that being said, this ends the celebration of our heroes for today. But as Prof said, we're not just going to do it on one day. We're going to always and regularly celebrate these heroes. Today, I chanced on some. Unfortunately, I didn't send it to Prof, but I know Prof that's why he's Prof. He can speak to any topic without prior notice. So I saw a video of a gentleman who was allegedly or who has been arrested by the joint effort of the FBI and the Ghana police and Yoko, and he's been accused of internet fraud. I believe it's a romance scam. I think that's the word. And my issue is not about whether he was right or wrong. That's not the issue on the table. Because as a matter of fact, as of now, he's still an accused person. And we on this platform believe in the due process of the law. But my issue, which brings us back to the issue of the law, is when somebody who is supposed to know better, a custodian of the law, a police officer who claimed he is a lawyer as well, trying to interrogate this man.
Without his lawyers being
present. And the guy even told him, I am not telling you anything without my lawyers. And this police officer, I was going to use a word, but I had to catch myself, had the nerves to say, you don't need your lawyers to answer these kind of questions or to tell us what kind of work you do. And he was insisting and pushing for this guy to speak. I don't even know if his rights were read to him before he was arrested. I don't know. But those rights, when they are being read to you, the memorandum rights tells you that you have the right to remain silent. Because anything you say will be used against you in the court of law. So which part of this does this police officer who claimed to be a lawyer doesn't understand? I really don't get it. And these are the custodians of the law. Please, this is the reason why we cannot fight certain crimes like instant justice in our communities. These are some of the reasons, because people don't even trust that the police, who are supposed to do better or know better, would do the right thing. And I want to believe, I want to plead with the IGP or the authorities to sanction this police officer, because that is lawlessness. And we don't expect that to come from somebody who is supposed to know better. You are not just a police officer. You claim you're a lawyer as well. So you should know the law. And you, as a custodian of the law, you who is supposed to see to the implementation of the law, is breaking the law. How do you expect the ordinary citizen to uphold and to abide by the law? This is very shameful. You should be ashamed of yourself. I don't know who released the video, but and I don't know who took the video, but I want to believe that the video was taken by the police themselves. But as to who released it, I don't know. And I'm not too sure of what I'm saying. If it's either the police or somebody else, a third party who videoed the whole incident. But for it to even be released into the media, if it is by the police or by the gentleman who claimed to be a lawyer and a police officer, you should be ashamed of yourself. Were you releasing it for us to hail you? Were you releasing it for us to see a good work you're doing? This is despicable. And I really, you see, like Prof said, the society we want to live in tomorrow, we have to build it today. And if we want to live in a law-abiding society, it has to come from the top. It has to come from the custodians of the law. So I want to plead that some legal action be taken against this gentleman. The police officer needs to be sanctioned to serve as a notice to all custodians of the law, to be law-abiding and uphold the law, especially when you know there's a camera on you. That's what even blows my mind. And that is a sense of arrogance. You know you're breaking the law in the full glare of the cameras. That is a sense of arrogance. So please, 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 if we want to live in a lawful society, if we want to live in a law-abiding society, in an orderly society, let us be an example unto the people. I was talking to somebody about instant justice. And I was like, this is something that needs to be tackled from all angles. And it should worry those in political positions, because the value of human life is not being respected. How are you going to sentence somebody to death without even hearing his side of the story? And most times, they end up being the wrong people, being lynched. And by the time you realize you're beating up the wrong person or you're lynching up the wrong person, it's too late. You cannot bring this person back to life. And I don't even think they pay compensations to some of these people. So please, it has to start from the top. The custodians of the law, we beg of you, if you have forgotten your law, go back and learn your laws. There should be periodic training for the police officers, especially because you are always on the streets and interacting with the people. You should be educating the people. So you should be abreast with the laws of the land and make sure you uphold those laws for us to begin to build a peaceful and a law-abiding society. Prof.
Yeah, Nana, it's really interesting that you brought this up, because when I was watching the video, all I could think of was the fact that I was kind of surprised the young guy even knew his rights. And he said he wanted his lawyer present. I was very surprised because our society runs on tyranny. The police, we hear about do before complain. You have to comply before you complain about everything. I was amazed that the police was insisting that he should answer the questions when the guy had specifically told him that I need my lawyers here. What we don't understand is that everything that this policeman asked the guy cannot be admissible in court. So if this guy gives you any information, like you said, the person is assumed to be innocent until proven by a competent court that is, yes, that he is guilty. But everything that you asked him on camera without his lawyer present, if I was a guy, I would have said a whole lot of things, and then it could not be admitted in court. And then the guy can go scot-free.
Yeah, but the point is that's when you live in a society where the law is being upheld. You'd be shocked.
well, this guy, according to what the social media stuff is being said, is being extradited to the United States.
Mm.
And if he is, nothing that he said on tape can be admitted in court. So you are shooting yourself in the foot as a police officer if you are interrogating people in absence of their lawyers. And there is something that is going on that I also wanted to bring about concerning this particular issue. Why is it that our law enforcement agencies, including our AG, the special prosecutor, our police departments, whatever, why is it that they are prosecuting crime on social media? Nana, all I hear about, they are making press conferences. This person has done this. Do we need to see this? Do we need to hear
and
this?
They even use judgmental words like they stole,
Exactly.
when you have not taken the person through the proper channel.
I've been making this argument and I've been making this complaint.
And I heard the Attorney General making those pronouncements. And I'm like, are you serious?
I don't know why our society or our law enforcement agencies think that it is in the court of public opinion that they can prosecute their cases. You are supposed to go to a court, prosecute your case. After you've won, then you can come back and tell us these are the results.
Right.
You don't come to the court of public opinion and malign people just for the fact that you have a pulpit, a bully pulpit, and they are using it wrongly. I will be very, very happy if one of these people accused of something by the Attorney General in particular sues him as an independent entity, not as the government in court for bringing his kids to the public.
He should know better.
He should know far better. He's the Attorney General.
Right.
He should know far better. So if the Attorney General is doing this, I can't blame the policeman for what he did. Like I said, anytime we are discussing an issue, let's go back to our idioms and our wise saying, the snake spoils from the head. That's what our forefathers have said over and over again. The Attorney General is out there in public, maligning people, pronouncing judgments on people he has not taken to court yet. And then, if a policeman is doing exactly the same thing, why are we surprised? We shouldn't be. He's taking the cue from the head. The special prosecutor has been prosecuting this case against the former financial minister on social media. On social media. As a Ghanaian citizen, I don't need to know what you are doing to bring crooks to justice. I just want to see the results. After you have prosecuted the case in our courts, you have proven that these people are guilty and they have been given verdicts. Back and tell us oh, people of Ghana or people of Africa, this and this and this and this, and we have gotten a conviction, and this person is going to serve so. Don't be coming to social media with your noise, because that is exactly what it is. And I'll be very glad if somebody can call them to order. Both the Attorney General, the Special Prosecutor, the policemen, and whoever else is in places of power, accusing people and stuff is the duty of the media, not you. If you are the Attorney General, you have so much power to bring these people to justice. Why are you on social media? It tells me you have nothing to do. That's what it tells me.
And even accusing these people is the duty of this the Attorney General in the courtroom, not on social
Exactly.
media.
I don't know. I don't know why we are prosecuting very serious crimes on social media. On social media. When you have access to the biggest and the highest courts of the land, including the Supreme Court, you tend to come to social media to prosecute cases of national importance. I am very, very sad about these issues, Nana.
Yeah, it looks like day by day the society is getting lawless, and I don't see any society that has been progressive by being lawless. You can never be progressive, you can never develop by being lawless. Every system that is successful operates by laws. And you can only be successful if you operate within the ambience of the laws. So please, let us begin to learn our laws. Let us begin to teach them to our primary schools. So, as you said, you were even shocked the gentleman knew his rights.
Yeah, I was surprised.
But
I was
the other
surprised.
part is he was, I would say, bullied to cave in by telling the police officer what he does as a businessman.
Yeah, he was
I was
bullied.
expecting him to stand his grounds and challenge the police officer and let him know that what he was doing was wrong and that he
Nana,
had no right to interrogate him without the
they
presence of his
they
attorney.
will physically abuse you.
Yeah, but this time you had a camera. Well, probably he was scared of what's going to happen when the cameras go off.
Exactly.
You
Exactly.
know, and it's sad. It's sad, and that is what lends to my statement I made earlier on. If you school a fool, excuse me, you magnify their foolishness. If you educate a fool, you magnify their intelligence. And it looks like the majority of people who are supposed to know better are not educated. They've been schooled. And so they display their foolishness to the whole nation. So please, the custodians of the law, we beg of you to be lawful, to make sure you set the examples for other people to follow. Other than that, we're going to live in a chaotic society. And chaotic society does not produce the level of development we want. Chaotic societies leads to self-destruction. So we're pleading, please be lawful in your dealings with the society. We know the Ghana Police Service have done a few good things. We see them. But please, the good things is being swallowed by the few negative things we see as well. Because for now we should be talking about highlighting some of the good things you've done.
Yeah.
But we're
Retrieving
talking
$8
about
million for victims would have been a wonderful thing if it really did happen. And we
right,
will applaud you
right,
if you do it.
right.
You know, we will. But
So
I mean,
it's
this whole issue of prosecuting crime on social media, I don't get it. And I
yeah,
will never
it's
get it.
I've actually lamented. I've spoken to a few
I don't
journalists
get it.
on this issue, and like you said, I've stated my position on that. I mean, so what if you go to court and the person wins the case? Are you going to come back and exonerate him where you painted him black or where you accused him?
I don't get the issue why we are putting people on social media and criminalizing them. It doesn't matter whether they are guilty or not. It is a court of law that should pronounce that. It is not us, you know.
Yeah.
And the police expect the populace to be compliant, to
Hmm.
help them in their duties. If we cannot trust you, we cannot trust you to do the right thing. There is no way we are going to be helpful to you. Me, for instance, there have been instances in which I should have gone to the police station, but when I went there, the way they treated people, I was in a trotro once, and they just caught the guy, kicked everybody out, and said, "We are taking you to the police station." I didn't get down. I went to the police station with the driver, and I said, "The driver, I don't see what the driver did wrong." And they were trying to manhandle me until I told them that you can try. So the whole thing is that people should be taught their rights, and our police, or not just the police, our security agencies should be educated
Hmm.
as to what is right and what is wrong. But we are pleading with you guys. Prosecuting crimes on social media is a complete no, no. It is completely bad. I understand you need to give information, but why can't you give that information after the fact? Because people's names, their reputations that they have used years to build, you can crush it within
And
minutes.
you can even give the information before the facts, but it depends on what
What?
information you
Yeah,
release to the public.
exactly.
So coming to the public and saying that, hey, based on our investigations, we've come across some information which we think it's sufficient for us to put this person before a competent court of jurisdiction, maybe next week. So when everything is over, we'll come back and brief you, or we'll brief you in the course of the proceedings. Period.
Yeah,
You don't
it's
have to
different from
say they
saying he's a
stole
thief.
this money, he hid this money, he's stealing this. It's not necessary. It's not necessary. One of the things we will probably have to get into, as you spoke about us educating the populace, is to even make those in power understand the difference between power and authority.
Exactly.
I think that's one thing they really don't get. You know, they really don't get that the power comes from the authority, and the authority comes from the
The
people.
people.
You know, so we don't give you the authority to have power to come and bully us. We give you the authority to have power to create a lawful society for us.
Streamline things.
You know, so I think it's a huge issue, and like we said, the custodians of the law need some education. They need to be educated, and the populace also needs to be educated on their rights. Because you cannot do this nonsense in an advanced society or in a progressive society and go scot-free. It ain't gonna happen. Somebody is gonna take the fall for that, and somebody's gonna walk away with some money.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so
Mm-hmm.
please, if we want to create a lawful society, we want our custodians of the law to be law abiding. Prof, on that note, your last statements before we draw the curtains for today's
Yeah,
Analyze This.
like I always say, the society we want to live in, We are the ones to build it. We ain't waiting for anybody. And if you are waiting, I'm sorry to tell you, you'll still be in the same society that you don't like. So let's all come on board and let's keep moving. Thank you, Nana.
You're welcome, sir. I believe Abraham Lincoln said it in another way. He said, you can predict tomorrow by what you do today.
Exactly.
Yeah, so let us plan our lives better today so we can predict tomorrow. Dr. Miles Monroe said, you can predict your success, and so can you predict your failure. And it's all based on the decisions you make today. On this note, we want to thank you for being part of Analyze This. My name is Nana Osebonsu Jr. of Africa International Organization and Sector Leadership, and my co-host is Alrighty. Until then, we're going to meet on the flip side, same time next week. Stay blessed. Bye-bye.
See you.
All right.